Hello everyone, so at long last I am delighted to be able to announce that Season 3 of the Track Attack Challenge will be starting very soon. It's a little bit overdue, isn't it? Apologies for the delay in getting things up and running, but there were a few reasons for it, I think primary of which being that it works better as a winter series for me. It can get a little bit warm doing the driving. So over the summer months, that is not a particularly good idea. Thankfully, though, I suppose it's winter again, so we can get the show on the road for season 3. And I figured I would do a little bit of an announcement video just so we could go over a few of the rule changes, because there's a few pretty big ones as I try to balance the competition as best we can ahead of the new season. So a few things will stay the same. There'll be 5 events. More details on them coming up shortly. Other than that, the general premise is the same. You will build a cars or get someone to build a car for you. And then we will get them all entered into these events. I will drive them, and fastest wins or best performing wins, depending on what the event is. Like last season, there will be a championship with championship points available depending on how well you do in each event.
There'll be bonus targets as well, but unlike last season when these were based on my driving ability, they will instead be based on your design ability. So as an example, it might be like, okay, so you design something with a sportiness rating of at least 70 and then finish in the top 15 and you get some bonus points, that sort of thing.
The major thing that is being removed is the points for remaining budget. And the reason for that is because the entire concept of budget is being removed entirely as well. So the way this has worked in Season 1 and Season 2 is you get a bit of money, $500,000 it was per event. The first time around, it was $1 million for the whole season the second time around. And then you've got that budget to use to build yourself various vehicles to do all the challenges. That was all well and good, and I think it worked decently, but it did have a balancing problem. Part of the issue that I had was trying to keep this as simple as possible for the people who aren't petrol heads to be able to take part and compete. But when you're building the cars in automation, it's quite a complicated process, and it was getting impossible for me to balance everything and set a price on everything. Just the admin was becoming a nightmare. What we're doing instead for Season 3, there'll still be a catalogue, so you'll know what parts are available to be bought if you're getting someone else to build the car for you.
What we're doing away with, though, is the pricing being based on the catalogue structure itself, because it doesn't necessarily reflect what we see in the automation game. And that meant that there was performance advantages you could get if you knew how to tweak the system in automation. What we're going to use instead is the approximate cost feature, which is available via the testing area, and then in detailed stats, it is this figure here. So it's not a perfect system yet, and there will be some tweaks that I have to put in there just to make sure that everything works the way I want it to. Keep an eye on the rulebook for that, but we're going to be balancing the cars based on the actual cost of them inside automation, rather than figures that I have essentially made up in a catalog.
Each event this season will have a maximum approximate cost on it. So, for example, it might be a maximum cost of $150,000. And then basically you can do whatever you want as long as this number here does not go above 150,000. There will still be standard engines, so we're going to have our engine suppliers like we did last season in Season 2. And they will be providing a new set of engines for us to work with this time around. And you can, there'll be budget engines, there'll be premium engines, there'll be engines that will give you all sorts of different types of performance. So you can still check the catalog for them. Those engines will contribute to your approximate cost. So what I will do is I'll give a rough idea in the catalog, or as accurate as an idea as I can in the catalog, as to how much each engine is likely to impact your approximate cost. The other new rule, which is slightly less important, but it's still something to keep an eye on, is standard parts. So when you check the rule set for each event, there will be some standard parts listed for the event. Those standard parts are likely to be, for example, off-road tires if it's an off-road event, or semi-slick tyres if it's a racing event. Just that we don't have people trying to save money like we did last season by trying to use off-road tyres in every event and then taking a performance disadvantage on quite a few of them.
Okay, then, I think that covers all the rules. What we should do now is talk about the events for Season 3. So then, let's take a look in a bit more detail at all of the events for Season 3. And of course, new events means new rules for you to all get your heads around. Round 1 is Movie Night. This is a new idea for Season 3. Produce the next famous car from the big screen as you audition your vehicles for 3 low-budget movies. Now, the key words here being low budget. The restrictions around this are going to be pretty tight, so you're going to have to cut a few corners in order to make the cost limit here. But what are these totally real budget films that I'm talking about? First up is Haste 11, Hasty Family. And, well, I've got the plot synopsis here, actually. It says, Vin Petrol, played by himself, hates his new boss, the self-absorbed fitness fanatic, Alpha Chad Deadlift, played by Zach Braff. Having been forced into one late shift too many, Petrol seeks his revenge with help from his oldest friend, the Valet, played by WWE superstar The Big Show. Can Petrol clock off from work in time to save his marriage? The scene itself features a dash up 3 floors of a multi-story car park before flinging your car into an office block. Movie number 2 is Fall Guy, the Guy Stuntson story. It's very hard to say, actually. The biopic of the stuntman Guy Stuntson tells the story of his world record bus jump attempt. So that's what we're going to do. Starting with a huge loop-the-loop, which your cars will need to get through, you then just fling it over a row of about 15 buses. The more buses you clear, the more points you get. There'll be bonus points for anyone who can clear all of the buses, and even more bonus points for anyone who can clear all of the buses and land on the ramp on the far side. Movie number 3 is the Donatello Dispute. Neil Buchanan and The Head are finally reunited on screen in this dramatisation of a true story. If you're not from the UK, I am almost certain you're not going to understand this reference, but I make no apologies for it. In the film, Neil Buchanan discovers a devious plot to steal Donatello's famous sculpture of St. John the Evangelist. But the plot twist is Buchanan is actually the one who's trying to steal the head of the statue and replace it with the head from Art Attack. The scene involves a very tight driving sequence around the narrow streets of an Italian city, including throwing the car down staircases and over rooftops. Just remember as well that the car needs to be big enough to theoretically fit the statue of St. John the Evangelist in. Round 2 of the season is the Rally Time Trial, and this will take place on a modded version of Jungle Rock Island. You might remember Jungle Rock Island as the venue for the first ever Track Attack hill climb event, and will be reusing the same hill climb course for stage 1 of the 3-part rally, except this time it's a dirt road. Now, the important thing about the rally is that each vehicle only gets 1 attempt at setting a time. You'll get what they call a shakedown stage, where I can practice with the car for about half of the stage, and then we reset at the start line and you get 1 go. If I crash, you're knackered, so it's going to be a balancing act between speed and safety here. How fast do you dare me to go? Round 3 is the AI Championship Series, which is an upgrade of our most popular round from last season, AI Oval Racing. So the major difference here is that instead of just racing around an oval, we're going to have the AI race in a variety of different disciplines. So there's going to be a tarmac oval race, there's going to be a circuit race, there's going to be some off-roading races. All of that is still to be confirmed, but there will be 6 rounds, and each round will consist of a semi-final and a final. So your car will need to finish in the top X places to make it through the final of that round. If you make the final, you score some points, and then the most points wins. Like last time, this event does take a lot of work in preparation from me, so I'll be asking for cars to be submitted for this well in advance of the actual stream itself. Round 4 is the heavyweight hill climb, and rules-wise, this is an absolutely bog-standard time trial event. Fastest to the top of the hill wins. There's some specific challenges you have to hit. For the heavyweight aspect of this, the vehicle must weigh at least 2,400 kilograms, or 2.4 tons. The road is asphalt for the most part until you get to the top of the hill, and then it turns to icy asphalt, and that makes things a lot more difficult. We're changing how attempts work here as well, so instead of having 5 attempts, each vehicle gets a 12-minute window to set the fastest possible time. So I can reset as much as I need to within that 12-minute window, or set as many times as I can get done within that 12-minute window. Once the window's up, then that's it at the end of the attempt that the vehicle's currently on. The season ends with a time trial on a racetrack, and this time it's Hirochi Raceway in Japan. As you'd expect, fastest round the circuit wins, and this is the one where the gloves are off because the budget cap will be higher here than at any other event. Similarly to the hill climb, each vehicle will get a 12-minute window to set its times, and we've got to be aware of those track limits like last time. If all 4 wheels go outside the painted white lines at the edge of the circuit, the lap doesn't count. So that's it then. That's a look through the events and the rules of Season 3. Keep an eye on the rulebook in the Discord server and get yourself signed up if you haven't done so already for Season 3 of Track Attack Challenge. A lot of vehicle building will be taking place over the next few weeks, so the quicker we get those vehicles submitted, the easier my life becomes, and then the happier I am, and then that's good, I think. Right? I don't know. Anyway, see you for Season 3.